up to all my beautiful kings, queens, and everybody in between? It's your girl D, and I'm back with another video. Now I know y'all ain't seen me in a couple weeks. I know, okay, maybe about a month. I know y'all ain't seen me in a long ass time, but you know what I'm saying? Life happens. In real life, shit happens, and life just be happening. So with that said, you know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for tuning in to see this video. Thank y'all for staying loyal, even though I wasn't. Okay. So today I have a special treat for y'all. I'm gonna show y'all a little snippet of how I make my candles soon, because that's gonna be in the next clip. Alrighty, friends. So I'm about to make some wicks for my candles, and here we have a little wick holder thing. And I have some wicks. They were actually twice as long, but I used them and cut them, so we're gonna get twice as many uses out. So we're just gonna thread the wick through, put it in the holder, and clamp it. And I'm just gonna do that for each and every one of them. And it's a tedious process, but once you get the hang of it, it's quick. So I lost my footage of me actually weighing out the wax. With that said, you're gonna get your wax, you weigh it out. And now we'll pour the wax into the melting pot and melt it. While the wax is melting, we're gonna go ahead and pour our fragrances. As you can see, this particular pot has a spigot, so we're just gonna let the wax pour into this bowl that we have labeled for the particular fragrance that we're making. And we're just gonna let the wax fill this bowl right on up. And then we're gonna let it sit. And then we're gonna add our fragrance, mix it in. We're gonna pour the candles. Next clip y'all gonna see, we're gonna be pouring the candles into the tins. So now we're just going to pour. So now that we got all that candle business out the way, we're gonna get into this Melanin Monday topic, which is about Dred Scott and the Dred Scott decision. So if you want to see that, stay tuned to learn some history that you probably didn't know. Okay, so let's talk about the Dred Scott decision, which was stupid as fuck. Okay, let me tell you why it was stupid. So there was a statement issued by a Chief Justice who was his name is not important because nobody gives a fuck about the oppressor. With that said, he basically said that state citizenship had absolutely nothing to do with national citizenship. How fucking dumb that sounds? How can you live in a state that's inside of a country and be a legal citizen of the state but not a legal citizen of the country? How did that even work? Like how that shit don't even make no sense, okay? It don't make sense. But the Chief Justice was a dumbass for the simple fact because the Constitution required that all states, by interference, also the federal government had accorded their persons all privileges and immunities of citizens in several states, okay, not just a few states, several states, okay, several states, by Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution, by the way, which includes the right to sue in a federal court, okay? With that said, since our good friend Dred Scott was a citizen of a state which was inside of the country, which is the United States of America, he had the right to sue in a federal court. So basically a few years down the line, there was another Chief Justice who went by the name of Charles Evans Hughes, and he actually made a statement about the statement that was issued, i.e. the Dred Scott decision, basically calling it the court's great self-inflicted wound, which it 100% was, because that was some tomfoolery, if I do say so myself. Okay, and obviously it was, because I'm not the only person that agrees. Another Chief Justice said the same thing. Okay, so now that we've got the actual Dred Scott decision out of the way, let's talk about our good friend Dred Scott, okay? So legend has it that Dred Scott was born somewhere between the years 1795 and 1799, but nobody actually knows because they were so trash at keeping records of enslaved Americans. We're not going to say slaves because slave is not their whole identity. They were actually people, so we're gonna call them enslaved people or enslaved American, or it's gonna be enslaved something because they weren't slaves. That's not their whole identity. These people had lives and had children, and they were human beings, not just slaves, okay? With that said, done with my rant now. Since the record keeping was so bad, like they don't know if he was born into the family that sold him originally, or if he was bought or adopted or anything like that after the fact. So nobody really knows, okay? So nobody knows if his name was actually Dred. A legend has it that his name was originally Sam, that he was born Sam Scott, and he had an older brother named Ethelred, Dred for short, and that when his brother passed away, he went on ahead and took it upon himself to adopt the name Dred, I guess in like a memorial of his brother or some kind of like that. That's the legend. His name is Sam and not Dred, okay? So Mr. Scott was born in Southampton, Virginia, well, Southampton County, Virginia, to 2 enslaved individuals. So nobody knows if he was born into slavery with the Blow family, who was a family who owned him off rip, or if he was like adopted, not necessarily adopted, but if they state claims on him before his birth or if like shortly after his birth. Nobody really knows that. Family were actually very unsuccessful farmers. So after they failed at farming in Virginia, they went on ahead and moved to Huntsville, Alabama. And shortly after moving to Huntsville, Alabama, the patriarch of the family named Peter Blow actually went on to see the Lord. He went home to Jesus, okay? After he went home to Jesus, the family, I guess they couldn't afford, because they were sorry farmers. They didn't really have much money to their name. The money maker, the patriarch of the family is dead. So they decided that they were going to sell Mr. Scott over to a man named John Emerson, who was a army personnel, and they was living over in Missouri. So he sold them over there. And so after he got sold, Mr. Scott decided that he was gonna say F this and run away. I know I said if after I've been cussing, but you can't cuss too much, right? Anyways, back to the topic at hand. Dred Scott was like, I'm sick of this, and he ran away. And for a long period of time, I want to say a couple months, he was actually successful in his runaway. Simply for the fact that instead of trying to evade, you know what I'm saying, run as fast as he could, he actually just kind of sat around and hid amongst fellow slaves for as long as he could until he finally got caught. Okay, so after he's captured, Mr. Emerson, John, actually takes Dred Scott over to Fort Snelling, and it's basically like a military base that's in what is now known as Minnesota. I don't know what it was called back then, but it's Minnesota now. And that's actually when he meets his wife, whose name is Harriet Robinson. Her name is Harriet Robinson, okay? So he falls head over heels in love with this woman, and they end up getting married. And since they get married, even though they're enslaved people and their marriage is not, you know, held up in a federal court of law, the person who has staked claims on Harriet's life, he actually decided that he was going to give Harriet over to John Emerson so that the two could be together and live, you know, their lives together as a married couple. So they were being treated pretty well for, you know, enslaved people, but they still weren't free. And I completely understand why they was suing for their freedom, okay? So basically, after they had 2 children, and shortly after that, they just decided that they were sick of slavery and they wanted to be free. So they both filed separately, separate petitions for their freedom, because they had lived in free states, and those free states were Illinois and Wisconsin. So since they filed their lawsuit on that, since they had lived in free territories, they were free, because there was a notion based on another case that was like, once free, always free. With that said, as they were sifting through, I guess, all of the court paperwork, they decided that they were going to combine the cases. And I feel like that had a lot to do with the patriarchy. Stick it to the man, by the way. So they combined the cases, and they decided that whatever the verdict was for Dred Scott, they were going to have that for Harriet as well. So, ahead of myself, okay. There was actually a period of time where Dred Scott actually tried to buy the freedom of his wife, and his children, but the people that staked claims on his life, they was like, hell no, you cannot buy your freedom. What the fuck I look like, you know? And so that's when they went on ahead and filed those petitions that were combined by the courts. And then in 1950, I just realized I said 1950. It's actually 1850. So in 1850, our good friend Dred Scott was considered a free man until 1852, when the courts decided that they were going to overturn it. And that was the Missouri Supreme Court, if we're being technical about who it was. So, you know what I'm saying? They decided that since this man is a slave, he can't be a citizen. So hell no, he can't be free. He can't sue me. He can't sue nobody in the federal court of law, because he ain't a goddamn citizen. Foolishness, if you ask me. But after losing his case, sadly, May 26, 1857, the Blow family, who had sold him, who were basically the people who had staked claims on his life when he was a small child, they decided that they were going to buy his whole family and then emancipate them, because goddamn, y'all been struggling so hard, and I feel kind of bad because it's kind of my fault a little bit. And then, unfortunately, in September 1858, our good friend Dred died of tuberculosis, and the rest is history. So I just want to say thank you all for joining me for this Melanin Monday session. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and like and comment down below. Subscribe to my channel, and if there are any black issues that you feel like we should talk about, or any black history or people that you want me to do research up on to post, let me know, and I will be linking the link to my candles, to the skincare products, and to the moment down below. I know I say it all the time, but this time I'll make for sure that them links are in the description box below. So peace out, peace.